one of my greatest accomplishments. We actually was going for 900. I had a little hiccup for my second pull, but came back and we stayed conservative a little bit because well, the second pull, I pulled it.
Did like it's 135.
I pulled it, but I got a little bit too excited up at the top and just dropped it instead of placing it down, so they red lighted me. So we wanted to be a little conservative because if I didn't get my next deadlift, then 771 was always, 771 pounds was always my opener. It's just a weight that I know I can get, that I'm comfortable with. So if I didn't pull that second pull, I would only sat with 771, and I couldn't go into a meet and come away with under 800 pounds. But back together again. We're back for you guys. We want to show you, you know, why we love the deadlift, why we love this lift, why I think, like I've said it over and over and over again in different interviews, that you cannot test yourself better than having weight, dead weight on the ground, and you step over it, put your hands on it, and pick it up. Man, I got goosebumps.
There's just something
thinking about
primordial about it.
My God,
think about it.
It's awesome.
Like back in the day, you're two cavemen or a cave, one challenged another to pick a rock up on the ground. There's nothing to that. You know, bench pressing took some kind of ingenuity to think, lay down and do this. This is as primordial as it gets, and that's what makes it so beautiful at the same time.
Absolutely. I used to get nervous putting this on. Usually this is warm-up weight. Just throw it on, be ready to go. But I'm actually getting a little nervous putting this on. It's been a while. Woo!
Here we go, come on.
Nobody's stronger. Nobody's stronger.
Here we go, come on, champ.
Nobody's stronger.
There we go.
Woo! I'm gonna go for it. Man, another plate. It's a good day today, baby. There's only one way.
Yep, come on.
Yeah.
Easy weight, warming up, baby. Here we go.
Oh, fuck. That shows you there. You never know.
But conventional deadlift, this is everything you need to know about execution. So some common mistakes in the deadlift that we want you to avoid is the bar getting away from you. So if you don't care about your health, you don't care, and your back's made of titanium and it's never gonna hurt, fine. It's still gonna, you're not gonna be able to lift as much, the bar gets out away from you. So you need to keep that bar in close. Rounding the lower back. Okay, so in some top deadlifters round the upper back, and I wouldn't even recommend doing that if you're doing that just for general fitness purposes, but that's a lot safer than rounding the lower back. You really wanna avoid rounding your lower back. It's just gonna open Pandora's box to injuries. The other one is jerking the bar off the floor. It's a progressively tight squeeze. It's as forceful as possible without turning the squeeze into a jerk. And you're essentially, if you do that, you might get the bar off the floor, you might get the barbell off the floor faster. You're kind of picking your poison because it's gonna go off the floor faster, but it's harder to lock out because you're not anatomically in as good of a position. Next one is locking out your knees early. Okay, so if you lock out your knees early, it's gonna be all back to lift that weight up, okay? So, you wanna keep that as, in sequential order of, you gotta bring the hips, everything, and as you squeeze the butt, makes it all happen in sequential order. Other one is squatting the weight off the floor. You can half squat more than you can full squat. So there's a very, very logical application of this force curve, meaning, i.e., don't drop your ass to the floor. You're gonna find the right position by how we show you the setup and stick with it. Finally, bouncing the bar off the floor. When you bounce the bar off the floor, you're minimally not getting the muscular work you need, and you are increasing your chance of injury. We want you to get the work you need, and we want you to stay safe. When it comes to footwear, you want something as low as possible to the ground. there is no point of adding extra range of motion. The only exception would be is somebody that's extremely quad dominant, that's a little more of an upright stance, kind of a slight heel, but most you're gonna wanna be as low to the ground as possible. You need something with a lot of grip, and you want a flat sole. You want a hard sole because you don't wanna lose that energy transfer. So either go in socks, slippers, or wrestling shoes. You want to wear the belt below the bottom of your ribs, and it's in a spot where your abdominal wall can push out. You want to push out your core 360 degrees. So what that means is you're not trying to stick out your stomach like you're pregnant. You're trying to expand your core the whole way around like it's a 360 degrees. And a recommendation here, what I personally like, and it's gonna be different for everybody, is I actually like to wear the belt one hole looser than I would with a squat, because it just ensures getting down in proper position, and the heavier you are, the more that's gonna apply to you. So you wanna get in a position where you can get in and not have it too tight, so you can brace effectively. So if the belt is too tight, you're not gonna be able to brace your core at 360 degrees effectively. Now on to pulling the slack out of the bar. Admittedly, lots of great deadlifters don't do this, but it's the safest way to do it. And even if you don't care about your health, it's the most repeatable way to do that. If you just reach down and jerk it off the floor, okay, that sounds horrible, but you get what I'm saying. If you just reach down and just jerk it off the floor, you're more likely to not be able to repeat that action because you're just grabbing it so ballistically, and it's going to initiate rounding, which can put you in a vulnerable position, and it's not going to let you pull the barbell in a straight line, because with the deadlift, the most efficient line of pull is a vertical line of pull. You want that bar moving straight. So how do you pull the slack out of the bar? I call this progressive tightening. What it is it's like you actively try to put your lats into your back pocket, and when you do that, you're pulling up on the bar at the same time. It's almost like you're bending it, and you're progressively getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So when you're in that tight position, it's almost like the bar would levitate off the floor. If I put 315 on the bar and you said, hey, you need to do this, the bar would come off the floor without trying to lift the bar, just by progressively getting tighter. So you put those lats in the back pocket, progressively getting tighter, and you want to pull the deadlift as fast as possible, but you don't make it into a jerk. It's a squeeze. So this is like a giant squeeze, and if you go and you want to deadlift as fast as possible without turning a squeeze into a jerk. A lot of people feel really good by using a cue, like you're like leg pressing against the floor, almost you're pushing the floor away from you. The problem with that is, with other people, what that does is it shoots their ass straight up in the air, and that's not good either, because then it's going to be all back to lock it out and all that kind of stuff. So if you're, oftentimes what we do to correct somebody like that is I'll say, hey, pretend like there's a monkey on your back, and you want to get that monkey off your back. So it's right on your upper back. Or if I'm in the gym, I'll put a broomstick on top of somebody's upper back and say, you need to get this off you backwards, and that corrects it. So point being, the deadlift is a push and a pull. You're pulling the weight up, but you're pushing against the floor. So it's not just a pull, it's a push and a pull. And then as the bar leaves the ground, you want to think about, you want to extend your hips hard. So as that bar approaches knee level, you want to, as they say, the cue is hump the bar. And this is not make love to the bar. This is violate it like a parking meter. And to finish the lift, you want to squeeze your butt. So when you squeeze your butt, that's gonna make everything lock out simultaneously. Hips, knees, and shoulders, because you don't want to lean back. You want to stand up fully erect. Locking the weight out. As you stand up straight, you do not want to hyperextend your back. I know it's an empowering feeling when you just rip a barbell off the floor and lean back with it, but it's not. Technically, in a meet, a powerlifting judge should give you a red light for that. You're not allowed to do that. So the way you combat that is, as you're extending your hips forward and you get to the top, squeeze your ass. A lot of people, when they're coaching other people, in strength training, it's like they want to sound smart by introducing like 500 different cues. Our goal is to minimize cues. So if squeezing in the butt will take care of locking all these things out simultaneously, that's what we're going to do instead of this, that. We want to minimize cues, not introduce new ones. So when deadlifting, the question remains to dead stop each rep, or do you want to touch and go? When in doubt, you're going to want to dead stop. We've covered this before, but if you are any kind of doubt, you need a dead stop, because you want to create a motor pattern there. So if you're a newbie, you must stay tight. because the objective is to grease the groove, get as many quality reps as possible so you can ingrain that motor pattern and become a more skilled deadlifter. The deadlift is not an extremely high skill lift like a snatch or a clean and jerk, but there still is an element of skill. If you're an efficient deadlifter with efficient technique, you're gonna lift more than somebody with the same level of limit strength that has crappy technique. So this is your chance to build great technique by dead stopping every rep. So you just you can do a successive dead stop where you just stop at the bottom and enough to break momentum as long as you're in the same stance you started with on rep 1. You can also do a complete reset. Either one is fine, but we do not want you using momentum to aid in these lifts. Okay, if you're an advanced lifter and your goal is muscle hypertrophy, we're okay with touch and go, assuming your deadlift technique is proficient. Because what it's going to do is you can produce a lot more hypertrophy this way because you're not stopping in between reps. You're under that constant time under tension by not actually stopping. You're going to get better grip strength this way because, think about it, do it 1 rep at 650 or 7 at 550. What do you think is going to build your grip more? Well, holding all that weight without straps, 550 for 7 is going to build it more than 2 or 3 seconds at 650. Okay, and if you're doing this program primarily for hypertrophy, then you're totally fine to wear straps to save your grip, because we're trying to hit the muscles and not build your grip. We don't want your grip to limit you. What it also does is the touch and go reps introduce a stretch shortening cycle. So think of it almost like a rubber band, elastic like energy. As you go down, your muscles store elastic like energy. It's going to help you give a more powerful way up. And with touch and go reps, you can take advantage of that stretch shortening cycle so you can potentially do more explosive reps. And there have been great deadlifters that do it both ways. You have a lot of the greats, like you have Steve Johnson, Ed Cohn, who are going to dead stop the reps. You have Benedict Magnusson, touch and go. So, but for most of you, I'd say 95% of you, you're going to want to dead stop the reps. If you have any questions on that, just leave it in the questions below, and we'll make sure we attend to that and get you the information you need there if you're not sure. So where is conventional deadlift stance? Your stance is going to be where you're most powerful. Where are you most powerful? Well, for most people, it's going to be your vertical jump stance. So so a lot of times I'll do a seminar and I'll look like a genius because I'll increase somebody's deadlift a lot by telling them to do this, by putting their feet in closer. So a lot of times I'll say, hey, where do you jump from? And watch my feet right here. So most people are right here. The guy jumped from right here. I'm like, that seems kind of wide. Let's see you actually jump then. Then they jump and they're in here. They're at hip width. So it's usually not wider than shoulder width. It's more like hip width, right in here. Okay. So this is a tip I picked up from my mentor, Dr. Fred Hatfield. And what he said to do is, because he was having issues, he first thought this in like the 70s, because I told him how I'm always saying, no, you don't really jump from there, and I didn't make him actually jump to prove it to him. He said what he used to do is he would get people on top of like a weight bench or a box like this. He said, okay, what you're gonna do now is you're just gonna jump off, and where your feet land, that's where you deadlift from. So look, right where I showed you the vertical jump was. It's that easy. So if people aren't cooperating and you're thinking, I don't really jump from there, I'm not sure, just jump off the a box about the, like a typical weight bench height or something, and see where your feet land. And your body's smart, so you're gonna find your powerful stance for your conventional deadlift just by doing this. This is pretty light right here, right? But if I go out here, it gets heavier, 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 heavier. Then it gets lighter if I stay in here. Same concept applies on the deadlift. And we're gonna show Johnnie deadlifting, but where are your hips gonna be when you deadlift? So essentially, you want your shoulder blades over the barbell when it leaves the floor. So it's gonna start right over your midfoot. And so a lot of time that's going to determine your hip height, where that position is, because this is not a squat with a barbell in your hands. This is a deadlift. And you can half squat more than you can full squat. And that's a common mistake people make, is they'll get their butt too low and try to squat the weight up. So you may have seen like some strongman doing that, but if you actually slow down the video and watch them when the bar leaves the floor, it's when their shoulder blades are over, regardless of their hips starting in a lower position. We said before we didn't want anything in return. We want one thing in return. Besides following the program, we want you to follow these instructions we're giving you. Be present in what you're doing. That individual you want to date in the Stairmaster over there is not where your attention should be. It should be on the deadlift training, this session right now. Stay off your phone and social media. You have a PDF, you have a printer, you can print this out. If you don't have a printer, go to Kinko's and print it out there, or one of those kind of shops. And if you do have to to download this on your phone, put it in airplane mode. Have pure intention in what we're doing. So deadlift, we're focusing on moving the weight from point A to point B as explosively as possible without sacrificing tension or technique. That needs to be the focus. You're not trying to isolate muscles while you're doing this. Frame your discomfort. This workout is difficult. This training program is difficult. Why are you doing it? When you're doing it, you need to enjoy the process, embrace it. You're gonna learn about yourself. You're gonna learn about what you're made of. You're gonna learn about the deadlift. And then ultimately you're gonna deadlift more at the end. I mean, don't look at the discomfort of the workout. Look at all you're gaining from the workout. Keep your eye on the prize. If you have a strong enough why, you always find a how. And since you already have that why, we've provided you with the how now with this program. Set a goal of completing all of these workouts. Don't focus just on the final product. Focus on the process. Hit every single one of these workouts. You handle the process right, I promise you're gonna be happy with the product. End each session on a positive note, and we're very excited to hear about your results. And if you guys can get some videos of starting the program and finishing it, we'd love to feature some of the more impressive ones on the YouTube channel.
And just a quick note, if you guys didn't know this about me, I actually chose doing powerlifting meets because bodybuilding to me was here and there such a letdown. Because it's so subjective. You bust your ass 16, 20 weeks getting ready, you get to a show and may not even get looked at. Who knows? It just depends on the lineup. You can get lost. Powerlifting, you either lift it or you don't. There ain't no getting lost in it. So after I failed in bodybuilding where I didn't get first place, or didn't come in the top 3, then I will find a powerlifting meet so I can go into, so I can get some confidence back, because I was that confident in my power, in my deadlifting skills and my powerlifting skills that any meet I go into, I was going to win. That was my way of getting over the depression of losing a show and get back on the high of I'm strong, I'm training, I'm a winner, and I can move down the road. So that was my love of, doing powerlifting meets, and why I got entwined in it, so deeply, so deep rooted in it, because it just gave me such a feeling of self-gratification in doing it, So hopefully this video, me and Josh bringing it to you, hopefully what we got to say, you can find something that helped you get bigger, better, and stronger.
Yeah, let me add something too here. All we want, this is a total freebie. We're giving this away to you. We're giving this program to you. You get the PDF download and all that stuff. We want nothing in return except for you to try it.
Yep. Hey, my email, jjfitness@aol.com. Hey, email me. Let me know your accomplishments. Let me know how this is working for you. Let me know if we didn't hit on something that you got a question. Plus you can go to Official Gasp as well, and send your comments and your questions there. We'll get it from there also. So we're here for you. Hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you learn this. Like I said, Big Josh, can't get no better than this, baby.
Cool.